A dead girl and a sorcerer with mommy issues have a makeout session. No, this isn't a scene from Baldur's Gate 3, just another episode of Critical Role. Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. In today's video, we're going to be going over everything that happened in Critical Role Campaign 3, episode 65, an episode that has the fan base in absolute uproar. The shippers do be shipping, as in this episode, finally, Laudna and Imogen hooked up. There's also a bunch of other major things that happened in this episode with Ruidus and all the craziness that's going on in Critical Role Campaign 3 right now, so join me today as we discuss it all. Okay guys, you know the drill, obviously spoiler warning, let's just get right into the video. So as we said, the mini shippers in the Critical Role community are eating real good after last night's episode because finally, Laudna and Imogen are shipped. They're done. And I'm genuinely surprised. In the words of Marisha, I made a dead girl that's basically unromanceable. And what happens? She gets romanced. This episode was really good. A lot of character progression from our party. This was the first episode in weeks where it was just our original Critical Role party members together. And it really showed in this week's roleplay and acting, as there was a lot of trauma to get through, we'll say. As we said, there was a lot of character growth and progression this episode between Ashton, between Laudna and Imogen finally coming to terms with their relationship and their affection. Laudna and Imogen both kind of dealing with their kind of separate abandonment issues and their love for one another, and it was just, well, it was pretty wholesome, guys. Personally, I don't freak out over relationships in RP and stuff like this, but I gotta admit, it was pretty freaking cute. Also, I was really enjoying the roleplay from Marisha this episode. It was cool seeing Laudna kind of acknowledge the fact that both of these groups, having gone on separate little mini adventures after the Apogee Solstice shenanigans, that one group seemed way more traumatized than the other. One group seemed to have a little more of a fun time than the other, and this was just good roleplay. This cute scene between Imogen and Laudna, though, is interrupted as suddenly we hear the voice of Ludinus de Lath coming within the city of Drusar, only to find that there are multiple, like, magical images being projected from magical items spread out throughout the city of Ludinus as he begins to preach his anti-god rhetoric. Throughout this episode, we learn that the people of Drusar are basically in kind of an absolute panic as they're not being fed any information, along with the many soldiers who have come to face this this world-ending threat potentially. There's just not a lot of information being spread around. Apparently, this is to avoid panic. We do learn, though, that a number of emissaries from throughout Exandria have come to visit Drusar to potentially try to discover what exactly is going on and how to face this threat, most notably being Jaman Saord, the leader of Ank'Harel, and, well, a chromatic dragon. Randomly, our party is broken up as Chetney is lured away deeper into the city where a werewolf hunter tries to catch him. Luckily, though, he is freed by the several members of the party that managed to keep up with him, or this could have been real bad for our boy Chet. Interestingly enough, the guy that was trying to capture him is the shopkeeper that Chetney swindled very early on in the campaign, and it does make us wonder if there are agents of the Ruby Vanguard working within the city. It seems like they most likely are, as the fact that there are little images of Ludinus popping up throughout the city. Also, there is the relationship between werewolves and the Red Moon of Ruidus, something that is still yet to be exactly explored, something that I'm sure we'll see come in the future of Campaign 3, probably with some very negative repercussions. Speaking of the Red Moon, we got some very interesting information, some more information about the Red Moon of Ruidus, as Aurum, along with Fern and Chetney, visit the Temple of the Raven Queen here within the city. It's here that we are treated to a Vax level interaction kind of with the Raven Queen, as our party are gifted a vision. Suddenly before them, they see the clouded sky. They see the red moon in the sky, a beam of red light coming down into the Malleus Key structure. Deep within the red beam, they see a small little orb. This we know is Vaxel Dawn, who has been transformed into some kind of a, basically like a focus for whatever magical interactions going on here, as Vaxel Dawn, in a lot of ways, is a shred of divinity. He is the champion of the Raven Queen, and we know that he is no longer a physical, mortal human, a physical mortal existence. Well, the good news is that Vax is still in existence. He hasn't been completely destroyed, but he is in absolute agony for whatever purposes that Ludinus is using him for, as suddenly our vision is pulled back, the cast just seeing the white face, the white mask of the matron of ravens, the Raven Queen, before them as the vision ends. This kind of brings our party back to a discussion that they've had numerous times throughout this campaign, one of faith, the role of the gods. It really is the major question that's being asked here in Critical Role Campaign 3. It's very interesting because the matron of ravens is the most different from all of the other gods, Prime and Betrayer, obviously because they were mortal, ascending to godhood, thus calling into question really the role of the gods and what exactly are they. As well, out of all of the gods, it seems that the Matron of Ravens' motivations are probably the least questioned. They have been presented as by far one of the most benevolent of deities, a deity that very much cares for the mortal people of Exandria, as of course they would, seeing as the deity themselves was a mortal. We get some even more Ruidus information as the party begin to scry on a number of people. They scry on Imogen's mom, Liliana, and to our surprise, we see Liliana walking with Laudna within a big red dust storm. There are kind of strange buildings around them as they make their way through this dust storm, and yeah, you guessed it, Laudna and Liliana are on the red moon of Ruidus. We have to remember that Ruidus was crafted as a prism for Predathos from a chunk of continent on Exandria. This city within the moon, within the dust storm, is most likely taken from the actual continent of Exandria when it was the prison itself was made. Thus, the people, the Rhynora, these strange red spectral entities, which we see through another scry spell, are actually physical humanoid beings, though they are altered slightly. These people were most likely mortals from Exandria that, having lived in Predathos' presence for what? Thousands of years at this point, have had their kind of structure morphed, but we really just don't know. There's just so many questions on the nature of Predathos, the nature of Rhynora, the nature of Ruidus born, the nature of the Ruidus born and their connection with these Rhynora people. It's almost as if they receive their powers from the spectral kind of beings of the Rhynora, from kind of Ruidus itself. I remember hearing one theory a while back that whenever a Ruidus born person is born under the red moon, the reason they have their powers is because a Rhynora has like linked either like mentally with them or spiritually with them. Obviously, this is just kind of a theory, though to me it does make a lot of sense. Ultimately, our episode ends our party transport to Zephyra, wanting to communicate with Keyleth, who is very much alive, though she seems to still have injuries, unhealable injuries from her face-off with Laudna. And yeah, it will be very interesting to see how we progress forward from here, what involvement Keyleth will have, what information Keyleth will give them on Vaxel Dawn and everything that's going on here. This episode was absolutely great. Feels fantastic to have our original Critical Role cast back together once again after a very long kind of hiatus apart from one another. And yeah, can't wait to see what happens in the future of Campaign 3. Can't wait to see how many gods end up being killed when all things are all said and done by the end of this campaign. And I really can't wait to see what exactly is the nature of Predathos when things are all said and done. Part of me has a feeling that Predathos is not that much different than the actual gods themselves, but only really time will tell. Let me know in the comments down below, are you excited for the Laudna Imogen ship? Like Laudna, my cold dead heart has been warmed by this super sweet emotional moment. As always, guys, I hope to see you in the next video. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.
Before Facebook and bullshit rap, there was a time when MCs used to bust sick track. Nah, don't get mad, I'm not saying you can't spit. Somewhere you wasn't born in, somewhere you was kids. I was 15, born in 1980, said it's 95. Yeah, some of the best albums of all time.